Last week, I posted on Twitter about a project that we were doing in our reading class using Google Drawing. So last week, everyone knows that we celebrated the 17th anniversary of the terror attacks on September 11th. And we had a really great day of learning about what went on that day. And sort of a culminating activity, once we got finished talking about it, was this hero mural, to where I had my children develop their own definition of a hero and then design a mural piece that we were going to display in the hallway. And the neat thing with this project is once we displayed our pieces together, they would assemble to form an American flag. And so here's a picture of the finished product. And once I posted this, I received a lot of feedback, a lot of emails, questions about how we did this activity, and just a lot of people really interested in how this came about. So I decided to do a little tutorial to kind of help everybody out in hopes that maybe you would want to do this activity in your classroom as well. Basically, my students logged into Google Classroom and received a blank template of that looked a lot like this. It said a hero is, and then they took this blank slate and made it their own. So a few different things that we covered with Google Drawing. This was the first time they had ever used Google Drawing, so I wanted to highlight to them how to search for and insert pictures, as well as manipulate the pictures by rotating them and ordering them on the screen with other items. In addition to that, they also learn how to add colored overlays to their pictures to help it match their color scheme. We also learn how to change the background color, and they also had some freedoms with their font as well. So basically, the first thing that we learned in this project, we knew that we wanted to assemble this mural as an American flag. So our finished product on the wall, when everyone put their work together, we wanted it to appear to be an American flag. So I went through with each of my students, and, by looking at a flag, we know that a fourth of the flag is blue. So I divided my students out, and I knew that 12 students was a fourth. So I gave 12 students the color blue, and then I alternated red and white with the remaining students. So whatever color I assigned them, I then showed them how to change the background color. And in order to change your background color, if you're on a Chromebook and you do not have a mouse, you're going to do a 2-finger click on the checkerboard pattern, and we're going to scroll down to background, and then the student would choose the color they were assigned. So this does two things. The reason we do this for our first step is it goes ahead and it solidifies the color that this student is going to be working with. So you really don't have to worry about the student forgetting the color they were assigned or messing up your color scheme when you go to do your flag. So it's important to give them that color reminder, because when they go to add their pictures, they're going to have to remember what overlay to put on them to make it match their scheme. So once they chose their background color, we then introduced how to insert the pictures. So I always call this the box with the mountain, and that's kind of how my kids always know where the image button is. So they know to click on this box, and then we always choose search from the web, because you have a lot more options when you do that. So to make this activity a little bit easier for my fourth graders, we as a group brainstormed some search terms that would fit with our theme or our topic, which in this case is heroes. So some of the thing or the suggestions that my kids gave me were patriotic, September 11th, 9/11, U.S. military, America. So we wrote all those on the board. That way the kids knew they had options of what to search for, and that prevented everyone's from looking the same. So just for this example, we're going to search for patriotic. And no doubt we're going to get a lot of flags. And there was a lot of flags on a lot of my kids' mural pieces. So we choose a picture, and we're going to go down here to insert. Now, this is where we introduce the concept of ordering and rotating. And I know you're probably thinking, wow, that's kind of complex, especially for elementary students, but there's actually a way to simplify it. So I told them to resize their picture, and I wanted them to see that it covered up their text. I should back up a little bit and say, before we ever began inserting pictures, I had them go ahead and type out their definition of a hero. So the first piece of the puzzle was for them to come up what a hero is to them. So that way, the most important part, the writing, is out of the way in the beginning, and then the rest of it is just kind of their artistic feel. So they've got their writing done, and I wanted them to purposefully see that this picture is covering up their words. So the way I instruct my students to do this, they're going to hold down their control button, and then they're going to tap the down arrow until that picture is behind their words and it doesn't cover it up anymore. And a lot of times you're going to have some students that take a little while to get it. But what I have found most of the time, there's at least one student at each table who gets it right off the bat. And then the students who are struggling can use that student as an anchor or as a student leader, to help them. And then we also, after we get the ordering, we show them here the rotating tool. And so I tell them that you need to hover until you get that cross. And once you get that cross, you click to hold it. And then you're going to rotate your picture to whatever angle you want. Okay. You also might want to point out that anything that is outside of this square, when this is printed, it's not going to print. But if it's just a corner that's hanging off, that's okay, because that adds to the artistic appeal of the piece. The next step is to show the kids how to add the overlay. So the overlay pertains to the picture only. It's not the whole document. So you're going to tell your kids to select the picture that they want to work with. And when the picture is selected, they're going to do a 2-finger click on the Chromebook. And then they're going to select format options in the menu that pops up. And then you're going to instruct them to go to the tab that says Recolor. And when you click the Recolor, it gives you a drop-down menu. And here you see another color palette. So obviously the child is going to select one of the color schemes from their background. So anything red, I tell the kids I'm not picky. So as long as it's in the family of red, it is okay. So this is also where it kind of varies and kids kind of go different directions with that. And that's really going to give you a cool effect when you put your mural together. So I tell my kids that I want them to add at least 3 pictures, but they can add as many as they want to. So a lot of times this whole thing is covered with pictures, and that's fine. But you need to remind your students that with each picture they add, they're going to have to click and add that overlay again as well. So if I do maybe September 11th to get another picture, I select that picture. When this picture comes into my document, I'm going to order it with the control down button. And then I already have my format options pulled up over here. As long as this picture is selected, I'm going to go to my Recolor drop-down menu, and I may want to select a different version of red. It may be a darker red, and that is okay as long as it matches. So with each picture they add, they're going to do the format options. Now, like I said before, all of your students are not going to remember how to do every step, but the beauty of this is there may be one student at the table who remembers how to order the picture, and then another student may remember how to recolor the picture. So you get this great conversation going on at your student tables, and they're collaborating with each other. I always remind them in this activity, our rule is ask 3 before you ask me. And what that does is that stimulates student conversation, and that allows students to come out and become the teachers themselves rather than me doing it. Because if they are excelling in an area, then you want to be able to really encourage that. And when a student has a concept in a way that they can teach it to another child, then they really have mastery of that concept, and it becomes more concrete, and they own the skill because they're proud of it and they want to share it. So when you post this in Google Classroom, you're going to choose the option for every student to make a copy. And the cool thing about this is when you go into Google Classroom to grade it, when you open one document, instead of Xing out and having to reopen every document to grade it, the cool new feature in Google Classroom is there is a drop-down menu at the top to where you can switch back and forth between all student work. So after I log in and I grade one, and I print it to put on my mural, then I go to that drop-down menu and I just go to the next student, and it saves a bunch of time than having to X out and reopen and reload. So that is a great new feature in Google Classroom as well. So this is just a very simple way to use Google Drawing in your classroom. We created this mural out in our hallway, and so far it's been a big hit. It's pretty to look at, and the students are proud of it. They walk through the hallway and they're always pointing out, that's my piece, that's my piece. So it's something they can take pride in. And the greatest thing with this is they had fun. They did not consider this a learning activity, although they were writing, they were brainstorming, they were learning technology, but more so they considered it fun and a game really to them because they love to create. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me by email or through Twitter direct message, and hopefully we'll have some more activities posted soon. Thanks.